PS4 won this generation. It was the better console. I do like it, but I feel like it'd be too easy to sit there and praise the PS4. So I actually wanted to talk about going out of the PS4 into the PS5. I wanted to talk about some of my least favorite things on the PS4. Because there was a good handful of them. But before we get into it, just know that this whole conversation is all just in fun. I actually like the PS4, and like I said, I came from Xbox 360 to PS4. I was an Xbox 360 guy, but I think PlayStation won this generation. And to be honest, it's too early to call. But I feel like PS5 might win this generation too, just because the reviews have come out for the Xbox, and we'll get into that later. But anyways, let's talk about the worst things about the PS4 now that we're leaving the PS4 era. So this is in no particular order. I just wrote down some thoughts about the PlayStation 4. The first thing that I hated about the PS4 was it was just loud and ghetto. And that goes for both of them. If you didn't own a PS4 Pro, you only own the base PS4. The PS4 Pro is loud as hell too, especially when you play 2K or Modern Warfare, Warzone. Bro, your PS4 sounded like it was about to take off and go to the moon. It sounded like your PS4 was about to join Space Force. So I would imagine it's even worse on the base one, because I have a PS4 Pro. It's like you can't, if your friend wants to watch a movie in the background or something, like it would be too loud, so it would just cover up the audio, and you had to turn the TV up to 200% and shit. It would heat your room up. I just never understood why it got so loud, because NBA 2K was never really graphically intensive. I could understand PlanetSide 2, but Modern Warfare, I didn't understand why it was so fucking loud. I just never understood. I always hated that about the PS4. Why was it so loud and ghetto? And I really hope that's not the case with the PS5. Although there has been a story that I watched yesterday that came out that PS5s are overheating in Best Buy. But to give you context to that, if you only read the headline, it's not enough evidence to prove whether or not the PS5 itself is overheating, so I wouldn't be too worried. What they were saying is at Best Buy, there are some PS5s that are on display that you can go look and you can like play them and demo them. The problem is they're keeping the PS5s in these plastic cases, and the plastic cases are like really small. So they were making the argument that the PS5 is not getting enough room to breathe. So the hot air that's blowing out of the PS5 that's supposed to go into the atmosphere, it's instead being recycled inside of that small plastic case, because they put it in a small plastic case because they don't want people to steal it. Basically, it's a security reason. Obviously, the PS5 isn't out at this point, but the problem is the hot air is being recycled in that small case, and it's overheating the PS5. So people were taking screenshots showing that the PS5 is shutting down and being warned. But just to give context, it seems like it's because Best Buy didn't properly case it. They probably should have put it in a bigger case so there could be better airflow, but we shall see. Remember I warned you here. There is it's a 50-50. We actually don't know, because when consoles first come out, that's when you're going to see the most problems, and that's why it's better to let people with money beta test things for you, because you want to pick up the second, third, fourth generations when they start to work those kinks out. So it's a 50-50. It might be a case of the PS5 is overheating because of the small cases that they're putting it inside of, and it's plastic, or it could just be the PS5. We shall see. Remember, I told you here first on Hokage Thoughts, rated 5 stars, bitch. So yeah, first thing I didn't like about the PS4, that shit was loud and ghetto. The second thing I did not like about the PS4, the inconsistent power button. I own two PS4s. I owned a base PS4, and I own the Pro. I traded in my base to get the Pro like a couple years ago, and in both of them, the power, I never thought in my life that like I would see a console where they somehow fucked up the power button. Xbox didn't have no games, but I never had a problem turning on my Xbox. You hit the Xbox button, boop, it turns on. You hit boop, it turns right back off. The PS4, you would hit the button, sometimes it would turn on, sometimes the light would turn white, sometimes the shit would turn like red for me or whatever. Sometimes it would do nothing at all, so then you would have to pull out the back of the plug and shit. I never understood it. And then there would be times where like you got to hold it for 10-20 seconds, wait for it to beep twice. I don't care what nobody says, the power button on the PS4 was inconsistent. There would be times where like I would not play my PS4 for like 2-3 weeks at a time. I tried to turn it on and it would not turn on, and I had to unplug it and plug it back in, and I never understood why it was like that. I hope the PS5 is not like that. Go back to a traditional power button without all the extra beep boop boops and being difficult and shit. I just want to hit a button and I want it to turn the fuck on and turn off. So that was one thing I also hated about the PS4, the inconsistent power button. The third thing that I hated about the PS4, the cheap ass controllers, analog sticks. I went through several controllers for both my PS4s because the analog sticks were really cheap. Later in the life, they ended up fixing it, I think. But like, for those of you who don't remember, like the edges of the analog sticks, they used to like tilt in and then they would like break off. And like, I remember the first PS4 that I had, the controller, the analog sticks broke like a couple months after owning the shit. They started tilting in and then they fell off. And the next thing you know, you just got the plastic of the analog stick being exposed and now it's cutting your fingers and shit. So now you got to go spend 60, 70, 80, $100 million for a new fucking PS4 controller. So I went through several controllers because the analog sticks were cheaply designed. And I really hope that they fixed that with the PS5 because that stuff was not fun and it was really, really annoying. Dealing with them cheap ass controllers. I also hate I've always hated the PlayStation's analog setup. I will always prefer the and that's why it always hurts me to support PlayStation. Contrary to what some people say in the comment sections that I'm a fucking Sony fanboy, like I don't actually like the PlayStation controller at all. The analog stick, the way that they're like together like that. I've always liked the adjacent analog sticks that the Xbox has. It just feels more natural in the hand, in my opinion. And that's why I use an Xbox controller when I play games on PC like Apex Legends or something like that, which, by the way, season 7, fire. New map, fire. Horizon, that's my boo. Fourth thing that I did not like about the PlayStation 4 is the Ethernet port. This sounds really stupid, but for those of you unfamiliar with the technical side of like consoles and computers and shit, one of the ways that Sony made the PlayStation 4 affordable is they skimped on the internet side. The fucking Ethernet port and the Wi-Fi adapter that they got in there, it's not like, it wasn't up to standard. So like the download and upload speeds didn't take full advantage if you have fast internet. And y'all know I'm not poor, I have gigabit internet. But because the Wi-Fi adapter and the Ethernet port in there could only take in so much data, I get, for those of you unaware, because you know I got gigabit, and I'm gonna remind y'all, I get 1,000 up, 1,000 down internet speeds. But on the PlayStation 4, because they nerfed the fucking internet on the PlayStation 4, I can't take advantage of that. So I'm paying for one thing, and I get it while I'm streaming and playing games on my PC. But on the PS4, I would get like 20 up, 20 down. And like, that's not terrible internet speeds. If you live like in fucking Iowa or something, that's great. You know, if you live in Idaho, 20 up, 20 down is great. But for me, that's poverty. And I didn't appreciate that I'm paying for one thing. And I think they fixed it in the PS5, so we're going to be able to get better speeds. But I always hated that about the PS4. It would take, games would take longer to download on my PS4. 20 gigabytes on my PC with my gigabit internet literally takes like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes tops. On the PS4, that shit would take an hour or two, and that shit was annoying. So please fix that with the PS5. Another thing I hated about the PS4, unplugging the PS4. Yo, there's been times where I accidentally like kicked the cable on my outlet and like it unplugged the PS4. Oh my god, bro. There goes your PS4 for a week. There's been times where I thought my PS4 died because you accidentally unplugged the shit. Or like, remember when I said the inconsistent power button? You would hit the power button and it wouldn't turn on. The light would turn white, and then you hold it, the light turned blue. It still wouldn't do nothing. Nothing would show up on the screen. So there'd be times where I'd unplug it out of the damn outlet. Then it would stop working still even longer. And then when it would come back, you get that black screen saying, hey, don't unplug your shit. We got to repair your database. I never understood what's the fucking issue with that shit. It's the only console I never had this problem with Xbox. I never had a problem where I would unplug the Xbox and then it just stopped working. Please just fix your power supplies or something. I don't know. Fuck that shit. This one's kind of petty, but another thing that I did not like about the PS4 was the sharp ass corners. I don't remember if the base PS4 had sharp corners. I believe it did. But the Pro got sharp ass corners too. There's been times where like I walk past my PS4 and bump my knee or like my leg against that shit. It cut me. Now I'm bleeding all over the place like a fucking anime character when blood comes out the nose and shit. Fucking, I think I had to go to the hospital when. No, I didn't have to go to the hospital. I'm lying. But like I thought about it. Like that's what matters. Like like Peter Griffin. Fucking bumping your knee against that shit. Like, all right, let's get off that shit. Another thing I like about the PS4 Another thing I didn't like about the PS4 was the PSN store was mad inconsistent, bro. A new game would come out and you couldn't find that shit. Like, I know I'm not the only one that didn't have this shit. You would type shit in and like, I guess it's because it's me being lazy. The way my brain works is if something is new and I type like a few letters into, like, let's say NBA 2K. If I type in NBA 2K and NBA 2K21 is the latest one, you would think on the PSN store, that's the first thing that pops up. But it'd be like NBA 2K19 that pop up and shit. Then you got to scroll all through the bottom just to find the new shit. I just never understood what was the problem with the PSN store trying to find new products and shit. And then God forbid a new game comes out and everybody's trying to download it. You can forget that. You ain't playing the game till the game could drop at midnight. You ain't playing it till 2 days later because the PSN store, once it got hit, or you know, because shit, remember when that shit used to get hacked all the damn time? You could just forget it. Combined with them shitty ass internet speeds, I just never understood why it was so hard to fucking find PSN games sometimes. I remember it was hard to find that 2K demo, but whatever. I got two more. Poor party chat. It is 2020. We're going into 2021. I really hope with the PS5 the party chat is better, and I'm talking about the audio quality. It's thank God for Discord. I don't use this shit, but the few times that I have used it, I honestly just felt like it was just life in the projects. It was just really impoverished, and I feel really bad for some of y'all who use the PS4 party chat. Xbox party chat is much better. I've heard it. It actually sounds pretty decent. But PS4 party chat, it just sounds like it doesn't matter. You could have a $200 headset and somebody could have a $20 headset. It doesn't matter. You both sound like you're talking through a Vietnam War radio calling in an airstrike. And there's no reason why everybody should sound like they're calling in an airstrike. There's no reason why everybody should sound like they're fucking storming the beaches of Normandy in World War II with their fucking headset. If you spend good money on a headset, it should sound good. And that has something to do with PSN and the PlayStation Store. They are the PlayStation hardware. They need to address it. And last but not least, besides the poverty audio, shame, never let Sony let this shit down. Never forget that every PlayStation launched with that cheap ass earbud. Okay? Fucking that little $5 earbud. And then you know what was really bad about that shit? Remember, it only went one in your ear. They didn't even do two ears. It came with a fucking microphone that only goes in one ear. The shit sounds like a fucking World War II radio. So never forget that they did that shit. If they're gonna include either include a good headset or don't include one at all. Okay? That's what I always hated about that shit, was poverty. So there's a few things that I hated about the PS4. Hopefully they improve in the PS5. I think they're going to address most of the things that I'm talking about. If they don't, you know, maybe Xbox will take the lead.